Picture this, a low-budget gang movie from 1979 that was so dangerous, theaters pulled it from screens. Critics hated it, violence erupted at screenings, and studios tried to bury it. Yet somehow, the warriors refused to die. What started as a gritty street tale inspired by ancient Greek mythology became something far more powerful. Behind the leather vests and face paint lies a story of creative chaos, real danger, and pure filmmaking magic. The following secrets reveal how improvised lines became iconic quotes, how Broadway actors transformed into believable gang members, and how a film that nearly destroyed itself became immortal. Number 1. Greek epic hiding in New York. Long before the warriors ever set foot in the Bronx, their story began in ancient Greece. The film's DNA traces back to Anabasis, a 2,400-year-old tale of soldiers fighting their way home through enemy territory. Author Sol Uric discovered this classical masterpiece and reimagined it for 1960s New York. His 1965 novel transformed warriors into street gangs, turning ancient battlefields into urban landscapes. This wasn't just another crime story, it was mythology dressed in leather jackets. The mythic foundation explains why the warriors feels larger than life. Every subway station becomes a new challenge. Every gang encounter mirrors ancient battles, and the journey home takes on epic proportions. What audiences experienced wasn't just entertainment, it was a timeless odyssey wrapped in contemporary rebellion. Number 2. A speech filmed far from the Bronx. One of cinema's most memorable rallies never happened where you think it did. When Cyrus delivers his legendary speech uniting New York's gangs, the movie claims it's Van Cortlandt Park in the Bronx. Reality tells a different story. The production actually filmed at Riverside Park on Manhattan's Upper West Side, miles from the supposed location. This geographical sleight of hand wasn't about deception, it was pure necessity. The Upper West Side location provided better logistics, safer filming conditions, and that haunting atmosphere that makes the scene so unforgettable. Sometimes the best movie magic happens when filmmakers embrace creative solutions over literal accuracy. Few fans ever questioned the switch, proving that great storytelling transcends geography. Number 3. The line that was never in the script. Sometimes the most iconic moments in cinema happen completely by accident. The film's most quoted line, "Warriors come out to play," never existed in any script or rehearsal. David Patrick Kelly created this chilling moment on pure instinct. Drawing from childhood memories of a creepy neighbor who used to taunt kids, Kelly started clinking bottles on his fingers and delivered the line with bone-chilling menace. Director Walter Hill loved it so much, he kept the cameras rolling. That improvised moment became the movie's calling card. Decades later, fans still quote it, imitate it, and shiver at Kelly's sinister delivery. One actor's childhood trauma transformed into cinematic gold, proving that the best performances often come from the most unexpected places. Number 4. Mercy's jacket hid a real injury. Behind every great performance lies sacrifice, and Deborah Van Valkenburg's portrayal of Mercy came with genuine pain. During filming, she fractured her wrist in a production accident that could have derailed her entire role. Instead of shutting down or recasting, the wardrobe department got creative. They designed a stylish jacket that perfectly concealed Van Valkenburg's cast, allowing her to continue filming without missing crucial scenes. The injury even influenced how Mercy moved and gestured throughout the rest of the movie. This hidden handicap actually enhanced her performance. The slight vulnerability in her movements, the careful way she positioned herself. Audiences interpreted these as character choices rather than medical necessities. Sometimes real-life challenges create the most authentic acting moments. Number 5. Broadway actors in a street gang. The grittiest gang movie of the 1970s featured an unlikely secret weapon: Broadway talent. Many of the warriors came straight from theater stages, bringing Shakespearean training to street-level storytelling. Dorsey Wright had just finished performing in Hair when he landed his role. Other cast members carried similar theatrical backgrounds, creating an unusual blend of classical technique and raw urban energy. This wasn't accidental casting, it was genius. Their stage experience gave the performances an almost mythical quality. These actors could deliver tough guy dialogue with the same intensity they brought to dramatic monologues. The result was a gang movie that felt both brutally realistic and strangely elevated, like ancient warriors speaking in modern tongues. Number 6. Hill fought hard for his swan. When it came to casting the lead role, studio executives and the director saw completely different visions. Paramount wanted a recognizable name that could guarantee box office success, but Walter Hill had someone else entirely in mind. After watching Michael Beck in the obscure film Madman, Hill became convinced he'd found his perfect swan. The studio resisted, pushing for more bankable stars who could attract mainstream audiences. Hill refused to budge on his choice. The standoff escalated until Hill delivered an ultimatum: cast Beck or find a new director. Paramount finally relented, and Hill got his quiet, intense leading man. Beck's understated performance became the emotional anchor of the entire film, proving that sometimes directors know best when it comes to finding the right actor for their vision. Number 7. Fox's death was purely behind the scenes. Not every departure from the Warriors happened according to script. Thomas G. Waits, who played Fox, found himself in constant conflict with director Walter Hill during production, leading to an abrupt and permanent exit. Hill fired Waits mid-filming, creating a massive story problem. Instead of rewriting scenes or recasting, the production took a brutal approach. They eliminated Fox entirely. Using a body double, they filmed his character's demise and removed Waits from the credits. This behind-the-scenes drama created one of the film's most shocking moments. Fox's sudden elimination felt jarring because it was never planned. The character simply vanished from the story because the actor vanished from the set. Real-world conflict became fictional tragedy in the most unexpected way. Number 8. Comic book cuts restored decades later. Walter Hill always envisioned the Warriors as something revolutionary, a living comic book brought to screen. His original concept included graphic novel-style panels, transitions, and visual storytelling that would blur the line between cinema and sequential art. Paramount executives panicked at this experimental approach. In 1979, they feared audiences wouldn't understand or accept such innovative techniques, so they demanded all comic book elements be removed before release. Hill had no choice but to comply with their conservative vision. 26 years later, Hill finally got his revenge. The 2005 director's cut restored every comic book transition, panel, and graphic flourish he'd originally intended. Audiences who thought they knew the Warriors discovered an entirely different visual experience, the movie Hill always meant to make, complete with its groundbreaking artistic vision. Number 9. Subway filming was guerrilla mayhem. Capturing the underground world of New York required more than just permission. It demanded pure guerrilla filmmaking. Much of the subway footage happened in real stations during off hours, often without full city cooperation or proper permits. Crews worked frantically between active train schedules, racing against time and transportation authorities. They squeezed equipment into cramped platforms, dodged security, and filmed in conditions that would terrify modern productions. Every underground scene carried genuine tension that couldn't be faked. This chaotic approach actually enhanced the final product. The anxiety of rushed filming, the authentic subway sounds, and the constant threat of being shut down created an electric atmosphere that no controlled studio environment could replicate. The danger was real, and it shows in every frame of underground footage. Number 10. A fight scene made up on the spot. When it came time to film the brutal bathroom confrontation with the punks, Walter Hill threw traditional choreography out the window. Instead of carefully planned moves and safety protocols, he gave his actors one simple direction: make it hurt. The resulting fight scene became one of the rawest, most visceral battles ever captured on film. Actors threw real punches, crashed into actual fixtures, and created genuine chaos within the confined restroom space. Hill encouraged the mayhem, knowing spontaneity would trump safety every time. This improvised violence perfectly captured the desperation and brutality of street conflict. Unlike polished Hollywood fights, this scene felt dangerous and unpredictable because it essentially was. Sometimes the best action sequences happen when directors trust their actors to create authentic brutality without safety nets. Number 11. Baseball furies born from Kiss. Creating memorable villains requires inspiration from unexpected places, and the Baseball Furies emerged from a collision of two seemingly unrelated worlds. Walter Hill wasn't just drawing from street culture, he was mixing glam rock with America's pastime. The painted faces came directly from Kiss concerts, where theatrical makeup transformed musicians into larger-than-life characters. Hill merged this rock and roll spectacle with classic Yankees pinstripes, creating something both familiar and utterly surreal. The combination shouldn't have worked, but it became iconic. What made the baseball Furies truly terrifying wasn't their weapons or numbers, it was their complete silence. While other gangs talked tough, these painted warriors communicated only through violence and intimidation. Their wordless menace proved more frightening than any dialogue could ever achieve, turning them into nightmare figures that haunted audiences long after the credits rolled. Number 12. The crew's clever movie magic. Limited budgets often spark the most creative solutions, and the Warriors production team became masters of cinematic illusion. With minimal resources, they had to make small crowds look massive and tiny sets appear enormous. The crew recycled extras throughout different scenes, changing their costumes and positions to create the illusion of hundreds of gang members. Strategic camera angles, clever lighting, and careful staging transformed dozens of people into what appeared like army-sized gatherings. Every wide shot was carefully calculated to maximize visual impact. These resourceful tricks became part of the movie's unique texture. The slightly surreal quality that audiences noticed wasn't intentional artistic choice. It was pure necessity disguised as style. Sometimes the best movie magic happens when filmmakers have no other options but to innovate their way through impossible constraints. Number 13. New York Nights turned hostile. Filming in 1970s New York meant dealing with more than just traffic and noise complaints. The production faced genuine hostility from locals who didn't appreciate Hollywood invading their neighborhoods, especially with a story about violence. Residents complained about late-night shoots, security grew concerned about real gang interference, and several filming locations became too dangerous to continue using. What should have been routine night shoots turned into survival exercises for cast and crew. Police escorts became standard protocol for moving equipment between locations. The constant tension and genuine fear seeped into every frame. When actors looked nervous or paranoid on screen, they often weren't acting. They were responding to real threats surrounding the production. This authentic anxiety became an unexpected asset to the film's atmosphere, adding layers of genuine unease that no acting could replicate. Number 14. A poster that sparked real panic. Marketing campaigns can make or break a film, but the Warriors poster nearly destroyed the movie before anyone saw it. The original artwork showed all the gangs lined up menacingly under the tagline, "These are the armies of the night." Theater owners took one look at the intimidating imagery and panicked. Many refused to display it, fearing it would attract real gang violence to their establishments. Some demanded the poster be completely redesigned or pulled entirely from their lobbies. Chain theaters across the country started rejecting the film based solely on its promotional materials. The bold artwork that was meant to sell tickets instead became a liability. What should have been the film's greatest marketing asset turned into its biggest obstacle, proving that sometimes powerful imagery can be too powerful for its own good, especially when real-world fears overshadow artistic intentions. Number 15. The gamble of going radio silent. When violence erupted at early screenings, Paramount made a desperate decision that could have killed the film entirely. They immediately canceled all television and radio advertising, leaving only posters and word of mouth to promote the movie. This marketing blackout was unprecedented for a major studio release. Without TV spots or radio ads, the film had to survive purely on audience recommendations and whatever buzz the controversial poster could generate before theaters banned it. Studio executives watched nervously as their investment hung in the balance. The gamble was enormous. Most movies die without proper advertising support. Paramount was essentially betting that The Warriors was compelling enough to spread organically through underground channels. It was either brilliant strategy or commercial self-destruction disguised as damage control, with millions of dollars riding on the outcome. Number 16. Forbidden fruit for moviegoers. The studio's worst-case scenario never materialized. Instead, something unexpected happened. Rather than fading into obscurity without advertising support, The Warriors became the thing everyone had to see precisely because it felt dangerous and forbidden. Audiences treated the film like contraband, spreading word through underground networks about this movie that was too wild for normal promotion. The lack of TV commercials and pulled posters didn't hurt the film, they made it irresistible. People wanted to witness what all the controversy was about before it disappeared forever. This accidental mystique transformed The Warriors from a troubled release into a cultural phenomenon. The very elements that should have destroyed it instead created an aura of rebellion and authenticity. Sometimes the best marketing campaign is the one that never happens, especially when audiences feel they're discovering something society doesn't want them to see. Number 17. Reagan's surprising seal of approval. Years after the film's controversial release, Michael Beck revealed a stunning piece of information that shocked fans and critics alike. President Ronald Reagan himself had personally called to express his admiration for the movie, praising its themes and execution. The idea of America's conservative president appreciating a gritty gang film seemed almost impossible to believe. Reagan's endorsement proved that The Warriors transcended its surface-level violence to communicate something deeper about loyalty, survival, and the human spirit. The film had reached the highest office in the land. This presidential praise demonstrated how far The Warriors had traveled from its troubled beginnings. What started as a movie too dangerous for advertising had earned respect from unexpected corners of society. The cult classic had officially broken through to mainstream recognition in the most surprising way possible. Number 18. A love story that changed partners. Romance wasn't originally supposed to bloom between Swan and Mercy. The script had completely different plans. The original storyline paired Mercy with Fox, creating a subplot that would have changed the entire emotional arc of the film. But chemistry cannot be scripted or manufactured. When Deborah Van Valkenburg and Michael Beck started working together, an undeniable spark emerged that director Walter Hill couldn't ignore. The connection between the actors felt so genuine and powerful that Hill rewrote the romance on the spot. This spontaneous change elevated the entire movie. The tension and attraction between Swan and Mercy feels authentic because it was two actors connecting in real time, creating movie magic that no screenplay could have predicted. Their on-screen relationship became one of the film's most memorable elements, all because a director recognized real chemistry when he saw it. Number 19. Cyrus' speech nearly got cut. Roger Hill's thunderous delivery of "Can you dig it?" has become one of cinema's most memorable rallying cries, but Paramount executives almost silenced it forever. They watched the theatrical, larger-than-life performance and immediately grew concerned about its tone and style. Studio brass thought Hill's Shakespearean approach felt too much like stage acting rather than film performance. They wanted something more naturalistic, more cinematic, and less bombastic for this crucial scene. The speech that would define the entire movie hung in the balance. Walter Hill refused to back down. He fought passionately to preserve Roger Hill's performance exactly as filmed, arguing that the theatrical quality was precisely what made it powerful. The director won the battle, and that booming speech became the film's anthem. Sometimes the most controversial creative choices become the most iconic moments. Number 20. Orson Welles was almost the narrator. Walter Hill's original vision included an element of classical storytelling that would have elevated the film's mythic quality even further. He wanted legendary actor Orson Welles to provide opening narration, framing the gang story as a modern Greek epic. Welles's distinctive voice would have immediately established the connection between ancient mythology and contemporary street battles. Paramount executives rejected the idea, citing concerns about cost and worrying that such theatrical framing would alienate mainstream audiences. The studio couldn't see past the budget line. Hill never forgot his original concept. When he finally created the 2005 director's cut, he added narration himself, bringing the mythological framing full circle decades later. While audiences never got Welles's legendary voice, Hill's own narration proved that some creative visions are worth waiting for, even if it takes 26 years to realize them. Number 21. A score written in 21 days. Behind every great film lies a musical foundation, and The Warriors needed a score that could match its urban intensity. Composer Barry Dvorak received an assignment that would terrify most musicians: create the entire soundtrack in just 3 weeks. Working mostly alone with synthesizers and electronic equipment, Dvorak crafted the pulsing, hypnotic score that became inseparable from the film's identity. The eerie electronic beats and atmospheric textures captured both the danger and strange beauty of nighttime New York. Every note carried urgency born from impossible deadlines. What should have been a rushed, forgettable score instead became timeless. Dvorak's synth-heavy compositions influenced countless films and musicians in the decades that followed. Sometimes extreme pressure creates the most enduring art, and 3 weeks of focused creative panic produced a soundtrack that still sounds fresh today. Number 22. Real subway voices in the film. Authenticity in filmmaking often comes from the smallest details, and the Warriors captured New York's underground world by using its actual sounds. The production team recorded real subway announcers, commuter conversations, and station ambient noise to create an authentic sonic landscape. Those crackling PA announcements and distant echoes weren't recreated in a studio. They were captured from actual subway platforms. Background chatter from real passengers, the screech of approaching trains, and the unique acoustics of underground stations all found their way into the final mix. Every sound grounded the film in reality. This commitment to sonic authenticity made the subway sequences feel genuinely alive. No studio recreation could match the texture and atmosphere of the real New York underground. The decision to capture actual subway sounds added a layer of documentary realism to what could have been just another Hollywood set piece. Number 23, the vests became holy relics. Movie costumes usually end up in storage facilities or private collections, but the Warriors' iconic leather vests transcended typical memorabilia status. These pieces of wardrobe became sacred artifacts of cult cinema, sought after by collectors and fans worldwide. Only a handful of screen-worn original vests survived the production, making them incredibly rare and valuable. When they appear at auctions, these leather vests command enormous prices from devoted collectors. They represent more than just movie props. They're tangible connections to a cultural phenomenon. The vests carry the sweat, wear, and history of the actual filming. Each tear and stain tells a story of those chaotic New York nights when a troubled production somehow created magic. For fans, owning one isn't about fashion. It's about possessing a piece of cinematic immortality. Number 24. A darker ending was rewritten. Walter Hill's original vision concluded on a much bleaker note than what audiences ultimately witnessed. His first cut showed the Warriors returning home only to discover that nothing was left. No glory, no triumph, just emptiness and disappointment. Paramount executives found this ending too depressing for mainstream audiences. They demanded something more satisfying, leading to the addition of the beach confrontation with Luther and a sense of closure. The studio wanted viewers leaving theaters with hope rather than despair. The compromise created a finale that balanced triumph with realism. While Hill's darker ending might have been more artistically pure, the revised version gave audiences catharsis without betraying the film's gritty spirit. Sometimes studio interference accidentally improves the final product, creating an ending that serves both art and audience. Number 25, From Chaos to Cult Legend. When The Warriors premiered in 1979, critics savaged it with brutal reviews. They called it exploitative, violent, and empty. A cheap gang film with no redeeming value. The consensus seemed clear. This movie would be forgotten within months. Decades proved them spectacularly wrong. What critics dismissed as throwaway entertainment became recognized as a cult masterpiece, studied and celebrated by new generations of filmmakers and fans. Its mythic storytelling, unforgettable visuals, and raw energy refused to fade into obscurity. Film schools began teaching it as an example of visual storytelling and mythological adaptation. The journey from controversy to immortality became part of the film's legend. Every obstacle, the violence, the pulled advertising, the critical hatred, only strengthened its cult status. The Warriors survived everything thrown at it because great art always finds its audience, even if it takes years. What began in chaos ended in cinematic immortality that continues growing stronger with each passing decade. The Warriors proved that cinema's greatest achievements often emerge from chaos. From improvised dialogue to marketing disasters, this film survived every obstacle and transformed into something legendary. The line between fiction and reality blurred throughout production. Real danger informed fictional violence, authentic fear enhanced scripted paranoia, and genuine chemistry rewrote romantic subplots. What started as an ancient Greek adaptation became modern mythology. If you enjoyed these secrets, smash that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into cult classics. Which Warriors gang haunted you the most? The silent baseball furies, the sadistic rogues, or another crew? Drop your answer in the comments below.